Mr. Ercolini?
Here.
Commissioner Laurie?
Here.
Commissioner Thompson? No.
Okay,
Bill
so
Hammer is here.
yes, I'm here. So I think we have 8 total. So everybody participating, all the alternates who are here. All right, I think we're going to go in order of the agenda because we have a continued public hearing on matter 2189, Matthew Accarpio seeking special permit for auto detailing business at 274 Wells Road. So this matter was continued. As you know, we've had a couple of sessions of hearings on it. The primary thing that we wanted an opportunity to do is to consult with our town attorney, the commission's attorney, on the question that had been raised by the applicant about the potential applicability of the Americans with Disabilities Act. But before I get to that, I just wanted to note that there were some new items of correspondence received on this. There is a letter dated November 26th. It's signed by elderly neighbors of the applicant, does not have the names of those who prepared the letter or submitted the letter, and it is in opposition essentially to the application. There's also a comment from Raul Rodriguez of 175 Beverly Road in support of the application, and then there's something from Stephanie and Richard Schmidt, 32 Linden Street, who are essentially opposed to the application. So those are new items. Plus, we have a letter from our town attorney, which I believe the applicant was provided with a copy of. I just wanted to make sure you were. In essence, I guess everybody should have that on the commission. I think it was sent out yesterday, but in essence, what he's saying is first, that the ADA wouldn't apply in this situation. He also indicates that it's only the Zoning Board of Appeals that has the authority to waive or forgive a section of the zoning regulations that are not complied with by an applicant in a proposed application. And he goes into a lot more detail on that, and he also he expresses sympathy with the applicant's position, but basically says he doesn't think we have the authority to overlook specifically the fact that the business would be outside as opposed to inside, which is required by the home occupation regulations, and again that we don't have a chance to waive that. So those are the new things in the record from last time. We will give the applicant an opportunity to say anything if you'd like to. You don't have to. You're welcome to. I will say you've done a very comprehensive job in terms of laying out all the facts. I think we understand all of those. So I don't have any specific questions for you. I don't know if any of the other commission members do or not, but again, we'll provide you with an opportunity. Yes.
It was mentioned last time that I think your dad is looking for a place for you to do this away from the home. And I think your dad mentioned that he needed some time because there was some issue with vacating the place or something, making it available, if I remember correctly. I'd like to know how that process is going. Have you furthered that along? Do you have a time frame or anything that?
I have people that are in there.
Could you just come up and for the record, let us know what's possible there?
I'm Tom Accarpio, 1260 Farmington Ave, Berlin, Connecticut. I have a tenant that rents from me in the space that I would like to help Matt get into. So I still have a lease for that. So that's got about a 6-month lease on that. So once that's done, then I can discuss it with him and see if that's something he wants to do or we can do. But that's pretty much where it's at this point.
Month is your time frame.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Before, I'm still going to give the applicant an opportunity if you want to say anything, but in the meantime, I'm just going to ask, is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak on this application, since it is a continued public hearing? Anybody in the audience who'd like to speak? Okay. Last time I'll ask if there's anyone in the audience who'd like to speak on the application. Don't see any, so at this point, again, the applicant, if you'd like to say anything, you're welcome to. Your decision, your call. And I think the next step for us will be to close the hearing, at which point we're not able to take any more input from the applicant or the public.
I mean, I feel like I could keep talking and express what goes on in my head, but it's nothing that I can just keep talking about. I feel like I've exhausted all odds. I could keep going and going, but it's a storm inside my head that nobody understands. But I mean, I've just been trying to fight this as much as I can. So I'll leave it up to you guys to, make a decision.
We appreciate it, and I think others would share this, but appreciate everything you've told us and explained to us. I know it is difficult, and I think we're all very, very sympathetic to your situation, but our focus at this point is sort of back to what our authority is and what we can and can't do. But
Understood.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. Again, we've asked for public comment and there was none. How do people feel about closing the hearing at this point, Dave?
Based on what Commissioner Leon Bruno was leading to, is there a time frame you could, if someone gave you some time to find a solution to this, and what would that be?
It's tough when people ask for a time frame. I don't know if having what I deal with, it's something that I don't know how.
If you could find something else in some time, you're not there though. Yeah, I know it's difficult.
6 months, a year, I mean, I prefer no time to buy it.
Okay.
If I could throw a time out, I guess 6 months, a year, sure, but, I mean.
Something to work
It makes sense.
Instead of just, ending it just
Right,
like
no,
that,
definitely.
telling the clients, we can't.
Yes. Any other questions, commission members?
I'll move to close the meeting.
I'll second the motion.
Second by Commissioner
Close the
Helmicki.
hearing.
To close the hearing. The motion is to close the hearing. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain? All right, now, I guess the question is if we want to act on this tonight. We don't have to. We certainly can, but we have time to do it. I don't know if people have had a chance to digest fully the letter from the town attorney, for example, or if people feel they want more time.
I think, Mr. Chairman, I think it's pretty straightforward here, and I think we should just act tonight. What I understand from this letter from the attorney is that there's two basic reasons that he poses that we ought to consider. First of all, is that ADA rules and regulations are to allow someone with a handicap to be able to do what's legally available to everybody else. So what he says here is that it's not legal to do this, so other people can't do this, so he shouldn't be able to do it either. And he quotes a couple different cases where, I think even in New Jersey, that was upheld by the judge. I mean, ADA is not intended to override law. It's intended to be able to use what other people use for you. And so that was pretty clear. And then the second item he points out is that this kind of decision falls best in the Board of Appeals, not in the Planning and Zoning Commission. So he says, for those two reasons, you guys should not allow this. But what he doesn't say, and this is what I'd like to bring up to this commission, and Dave, I hope you're of a mind like this, is that can we give this applicant some time to straighten out his story here? He has a condition, and obviously we can't give it to him forever. That's clear. We don't have the authority to give that to him forever. But do we have the right and authority to say, okay, take 6 months, take a year, and work with your family, work with others, and find yourself a better location where you can do what's beneficial to you legally, and you don't have to hassle with guys like us and other commissions. So I'd like to advocate that this group consider that we allow him to continue operation, I'll say for the duration of all next summer, because most of his business is summertime. I can't imagine he's going to be going out in cold weather. I hope you're not anyways, like today, cleaning cars and washing cars. So I would like to give him the opportunity to find an alternative for the next season, which we could say like the end of September or the end of October of 2025.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious to see how others feel about that. And do you think that Mr. Chairman, do you think that we have the authority to give that? Now, I'll just simply say that this commission has given a time frame to other people that were doing things that they shouldn't be doing, like putting boats in front yard and they shouldn't be doing. We've given them, some time to take care of that problem. So I'm kind of suggesting we take the same course of action here.
A couple things, Peter. I think the situations with boats that you're referring to, they did not have a threshold standard to be eligible that wasn't being complied with in those situations. I think those were situations where we had a special permit. We had to look at what are the impacts to the neighborhood and to the neighbors, and those were situations where there was neighbor opposition. So I believe what we did in those situations is we used our discretion to grant the applications for a very limited term. Unfortunately here, because I would also like to try to find a way to do something, but I think here the action that we have to take is either approve or deny the application. And the town attorney has said the ADA doesn't apply, and you've described, in more detail why he said that, and that if we don't have compliance with a threshold section of the regs for home occupation, which is that it shall be inside a building and not outside, that can't be waived or excused. So I don't see that we have any choice other than
why is it different than a boat? You're not
because
yeah,
this is a home occupation, and in order to grant a special permit, we must find that they meet the requirements, which include, number one, the business be inside a building, not outside, which he doesn't contest that he doesn't meet. He can't do it in the garage. The boats, by contrast, I believe the rule on those is they have to be in a particular yard, and they have to be of a certain size, and depending on where they fall, we have the ability to say, okay, we'll give you a special permit to let you leave it in the yard in a particular location. But there isn't, there wasn't in those situations what we have here, which is a home occupation use is what's being asked for, and the regulations say it can't be outside, period.
Yeah, let me throw something out again. What if you said we could, don't have to vote on this tonight?
That is correct. We have
Why don't we vote on this in October?
we have to act on it within 65 days of tonight.
5 days.
Correct.
Like I say, I'm trying to,
I understand.
If I was a neighbor, I didn't like it, and I'd probably be a guy who wouldn't like it, If someone told me that we're going to cure it within a year and it goes away, I'd be happy with that.
Yeah,
Just,
I think so.
Yeah, okay, give the kid a,
I think so.
So,
But so is there a way to do that? Or again, you're a lawyer, I'm not. There's no way of doing that.
look, the only thing I can think of is, whether there's any, I don't know whether there's any discretion that the zoning enforcement officer would have to give some reasonable period of time to try to make other arrangements, but, extending for another year or a full season, I think is problematic. Tony?
No, I think this was pretty clear when we started this in September, and we came back in November, and now we're in December. Timeline has gone before TPC and the Zoning Board of Appeals, and Jack's 9 statutory reference and case law references, I think, are pretty clear. And his paragraph there, while I'm sympathetic to the applicant's position, it appears that there's no reasonable modification which may be made which would not fundamentally alter the zoning scheme in the zoning district where the use is sought. It would be different if we had the sidelines and setbacks coming into us with a garage or something in the back. Modifying. I remember one of our commissioners talked about giving them some latitude until the cold season hits. The cold season's here, and I want to compliment the town attorney because I think this legal opinion's right to where we're at, not to set precedent on situations like this that might come our way in the future.
Right, so I appreciate it.
I'm not in favor of any extension or delay. I think it's cut and dry, and then we have a legal opinion in hand.
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, we're all incredibly sympathetic, but I think, I think based on the advice that the town attorney is giving us, it sort of sets us on a path that we, at least from my perspective, don't really have a way not to follow, as much as I think it's something we all we're hoping we wouldn't end up at this point. And I think that's part of the reason why we continued this for several months, in order to be able to get the town attorney advice to see if there was a way. Yes.
So, town attorney's done a good job giving us advice on the particular issue at hand, but we didn't ask the question, what if we give him some more time? Is that okay? Could we ask that to the attorney?
I'm not sure how, I guess, how would the question be? More time, I guess, how? Because we have 65 days to vote up or down on the application that's before us right now, so I'm not sure.
The question, can we just say he can operate until next September? At which point he has to cease and desist, because he can't continue to do this operation, but he's got till September to find some alternative.
I mean,
The only thing I would add to that piece is because I originally liked this idea, I was supportive of that, but the last paragraph, the law is clear that the Planning and Zoning Commission may not waive or vary the requirements or regulations on a case-by-case basis regardless. And in this case, we are effectively waiving the major home occupation requirements.
And what's the trigger date, Mr. Chairman? We started this in September 4th.
I think the way it works, Tony, would be now that we close the hearing tonight, that starts the new period for making a decision. But I think our acting town planner, Mr. Caruso, wanted to say something.
I understand what the board is saying. I mean, how can you not, try to help the person? But I asked you a couple of questions. If you want to give him a year or say, what are you doing? You're approving it and making that a condition that he has to stop a year? Is that what so you're approving the application, and you're approving an application that is, no one can argue whether it's against the law.
I know
or
it's
not.
different, but I'm still with the boat thing. I'm still thinking.
Well, the
boat
boat,
thing.
as the chairman said, I mean,
I know.
you have that, he has that all in his,
Yeah.
that's like telling him, put it in the garage, or put it in, and if he could do that, and I think that was asked. I think that's more of an analogy that you could make with the boat thing. But as far as that, and, as an advisor, I have to tell you that, be the bearer of, news that nobody.
No, I understand, yeah.
I just don't see the nuance difference. It's really, really, really fine.
I'm not saying whether we
It's
had the right to do
because
that
with
in
the
first
boat
place.
situation, we did say to the guy, just put the boat in the garage. And he says, well, I can't do that because it takes me a long time to take the boat apart. Remember that? And he goes, gee, guys, give me a break. So we actually went against our own rules and gave him a break.
If you want, we can
You
go
know,
look
I
at
don't
those
know that you
situations,
had the
Peter,
right to
but
do that then, so don't-
we
don't
can
worry.
go back and look if it would make people more comfortable, but looking it up right now, my recollection is campers, trailers, and boats. They basically, if they're over a certain size, it requires a special permit from this commission. The situations you're referring to, I think, are all situations where there was a complaint filed, somebody came in, made an application, said, I've had this thing here for however many years, never had an issue, but because the complaint was made, they came in and made an application for a special permit. And I think those were situations where either we didn't think it was a great situation to have go on forever, or there was some opposition as well from neighbors. So we basically, and again, in those situations, our only evaluation was, is it going to cause adverse impacts to the neighborhood? And we basically said, we'll grant it, but for a limited time period. And again, the distinction that we have here is home occupation is different than boats, sets out a bunch of parameters, the two most important of which here are that the home occupation has to be inside the dwelling, and then there's the other section that says it has to have enough parking provided for the principal use plus the home occupation so that it's not on the street. Those two requirements do not apply in the boat situation. And I believe in the boat situation, there was not a measurement or something like that wasn't being complied with. It was just, should we allow it or shouldn't we? If you want to have staff go back and, dig out some of those things just to satisfy us,
I
don't
would.
have a problem with that.
I would like, before I vote on this, I would like to know that that is not an option to us, and, the nuance is clearly looked at. That's what I'd like to know. I don't know how many different cases we've allowed people to do things that they really couldn't have done, and I just want to make sure that when we make a decision that this is really uniquely different. I understand your point. I really understand your point, but I'm not convinced that we can't do it.
Yeah, look, I don't have a problem with a quick consultation with the town attorney, but I think I know what the answer is going to be, that you have to vote up or you have to vote down, and unfortunately, you don't have any other choice. I'm sorry, the hearing is closed. We can't take any additional public comment. So I guess what we have to decide right now is, are we acting tonight or are we deferring action, as Peter has
We should
suggested?
probably act at this point, my personal opinion, but the only, is, if he did this temporarily for a while in his garage, would that solve that problem? I know
I
it's
think
painful
we-
for him, but.
I think we asked,
Yeah, but
the
but he
garage
would, but
question.
we'll push him to the point he's done. So could he go in the garage for 6 months to a year?
I think if he,
One of a car,
I think if
and
he,
so we'll give you 1 year, but you got to do it in the garage.
yeah, let's put it this way. I think if we were to deny the application, he could come back 2 days later with a new one that says, I'm doing it in the garage. Will you give me permission? And he would have cleared up the outside, the dwelling issue, right? Although you'd still have to look at the parking thing. And we'd still have to look at all the impacts and everything. But we did ask him, and he said it wasn't feasible or there wasn't room. But that certainly would be something I think he could explore.
Yeah, I don't-
The
I
other
don't
thing, I guess, that he could explore, the other thing,
I'm not in favor of giving any more time. The town attorney has spoken. We have tough decisions to make. That's what we're here for. And if precedent is set here, then it's going to continue and be expanded elsewhere. And over the dozen plus years that I've been on the board, we have difficult decisions to make. Very seldom do we have a town attorney's legal opinion put in front of us. It's cut and dry. And this is where we started in September, and now we're in December. So we've already given them a couple months of courtesy. It's a difficult decision. But if we had 5 more flared up in the other parts of town, then that's what we've done with other situations. And again, I got to give compliment to the support staff that works in the town hall as well as the town attorney. It's a difficult decision.
it's a very the other, and I don't know whether this has any chance of success or whether the applicant would even want to go through it again. But unfortunately, I think the place where he could have gotten the answer that he was looking for was the zoning Board of Appeals. As the town attorney pointed out, they have the
CPAs.
ability to waive the regulation. So whether he could restructure slightly how he's proposing to do this and attempt going back to them again, he may not want to go through that, but that could be
It could be
an
another option.
alternative route where they have the ability
Okay.
to forgive or waive things that we
The
can't.
ZBA would.
Correct. So it's something else that he could think about at least. But I think we have to, so I think for now, we just have to make a decision in terms of what the consensus is here, if you want to act tonight or defer it, till a later meeting. That's the question. You want to just, why don't we
Just
just,
if you want to defer it, make the motion to ask for a deferral, I'll vote no against it anyway, but if you wanted to call that out as a.
All right, see how
why
others
don't we
feel.
just,
Yeah.
or just go around the,
I'll make a motion that we defer this.
You want to just talk.
why don't we just
Yeah,
talk it? Do you mind if we just go around the
Go ahead,
table and ask?
go ahead.
So I guess the question is, we would just not act tonight. We could act at when is our next meeting? Have another one this month?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Um,
We have to act within
Yeah, but
65 days, but if
we
people
don't, what's the
feel,
purpose of not acting tonight?
I guess if
there's no
people
other
feel they have anything else they want to study, town attorney letter, whatever, what's your?
I'd like the town attorney to address the question of giving more time. That's what I'd like. And I'd like us to look at situations where we have given more time and, is there a nuance there that makes sense?
Yeah, I mean, I can't, yeah, I guess, Peter, again, I gave you my recollection of the other situations. Tony, others have been here a long time, but regardless, I think we're kind of forced on this to act within the confines of what's before us. So, if the consensus of the commission was that you felt you needed more time to make a decision, I would
Why don't
not,
you make a motion.
I wouldn't stand in the way of it, but I'm not proposing it, I guess, from my standpoint, because I'm not sure what else we could get.
As uncomfortable as it is, I'll make a motion to deny 2189-24-Z for a special permit for section 352, home occupation for this property at 274 Wells Road.
I'm gonna suggest, Tony, that maybe just to keep it more understandable on the record, you make it as a motion to approve, and it will either
Which we've done
succeed or fail, but I think it gets confusing with the negatives on the
Agreed,
deny.
agreed.
Okay.
I learned my lesson years
Okay.
ago, so, okay, I'll make that motion to approve as referenced.
Is there a second to that, to be able to keep the discussion moving?
I'll second it.
Okay. Second by Dave.
For general discussion,
Yes.
I'll vote it down.
Okay, but definitely, everybody, anything you'd like to say at this point, thoughts on things, please.
I'm not generally happy with this, but as the motion is presented, I mean, it's obvious we'll have to accept it. Because otherwise, you're saying that you're allowing this to go on forever, and that's never going to be the case. So I think it's all sealed.
I guess I would just add to the mix here that, if the application is denied, that there may be, the other things the applicant could consider that we talked about before, whether it could be moved inside, brought into compliance with home occupation, which would still require a special permit, or possibly explore a reapplication to ZBA, just as part of the discussion.
Clarify the motion again. So you moved to approve, it sounded like you moved to approve the application.
Yes,
Right.
move to approve the application. Now we're going to call the vote, and I verbally said that I'm not going to accept,
Gotcha.
I'm going to say
No, I
no.
understand.
I'm going to vote it down.
And it's, okay. Anybody else have any further thoughts? No? All right,
So a no vote denies the application.
correct. So we'll call for the yeses first, which would be to approve the application. All in favor of the application, please say aye. Or actually, please raise your hand if you're in favor. If you're opposed, please raise your hand, just to make sure everybody's. I didn't see hands for the,
I was just confused. So can you, so is
Sorry,
it to
this-
approve it to like let them,
it was to let him have the home occupation was the motion made, an affirmative motion to approve.
okay.
There were 0 votes in favor, so now I'm asking for who is voting against the motion, which essentially has the effect of denying the application. So we had no votes to approve. If you're
I'm going to abstain. I'm sorry.
abstaining,
Yeah.
okay, and I didn't see Joe's hand. You were
Actually, I'd
Opposed?
like to abstain as well. I'm changing my vote. I'm abstaining.
2 abstentions, and is everybody else here opposed to the motion to approve, I think, right? So it's 6, 0 in favor, 6 opposed. The application is denied. Again, we're sorry, but we feel that we had to make that decision based on what we have, what we are bound to uphold under our regulations and within our scope of jurisdiction.
Well, thank you very much.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, it's too late now.
Thank you.
There doesn't have to be anybody with a 20-foot boat coming in next time.
Bye.
Oh, shut up. It's not happening.
Nobody's going to get any latitude from me ever again on any of these issues.
All right, let's move on to the next application is a new public hearing, application 2194, special permit for proposed retail use with 3,000 to 20,000 square feet of gross floor area at 1,000 Silas Deane Highway. Yes.
Yes, good evening. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I'm sorry, let him introduce himself and then I'll, if you could just, for the record, continue to introduce yourself.
Certainly. Thank you.
Wait.
Members of the commission, my name is David Hoops. I'm an attorney with an office at 185 Asylum Street in Hartford. I was just, within the last day, brought into this matter by the applicant. We are in receipt of Mr. Caruso's memo that was issued the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. It's obvious that there's one main fundamental issue with the application, and we need some time to work through it. I do believe that we can come up with a win-win solution. I mean, this property's been a derelict vacant property for about 25 years. I've personally been involved with the property for that entire time. We're obviously not, there obviously wouldn't be any point in going forward today based on the issues that are reflected in Mr. Caruso's memo. And what we're seeking at this time is to continue the matter till your second meeting in January. And I realize that would require an extension. We hereby grant an extension to the second meeting, which I think is January 21, if I'm correct. And here, I should have mentioned, I'm here with the principal of the property owner, Ken Zhang, and his son, Daniel Zhang, and happy to answer any questions. It is an unusual use. I would urge anyone who's curious to go over there. You could go in through the back, and you'll see what's going on in there.
You have something, Dominic, first, or no?
Well, I just wanted to ask the attorney, do you need the plan? Are you gonna?
I don't need the plan.
So just to be clear, Attorney Hoops, so the extension would be of the period, the 35-day period to complete the public
Yes.
hearing, correct?
Let me ask, has the public hearing been opened? Because you have 65 days to open it.
Right.
And that would take you past your first meeting in January. By my rough math, that would require about an 11-day extension of the time to open the public hearing. It's been my assumption that the public hearing, and again, I'm just being brought into this, that the public hearing hasn't been opened yet.
Right, it really depends what, if we're just limiting it to the extension request and not getting into any of the substantive details of the application, then maybe we're not opening the hearing. And I guess I also want to make sure there's nobody here from the public who's looking to speak on this application. Is that just your?
Ken Zhang and his son.
Okay, so we don't have any
Just the
members of the
applicant.
public who are here.
So you're looking for a motion to extend to January again?
21.
And I guess we do have in our packets, there were some town staff comments, and as you probably know, if you've had a chance to look at them, they've raised a number of things, and I think that they even suggested that the applicant meet with town staff to try to go over some of those things. So if we are inclined to grant an extension, would very much like to see you take that opportunity.
I had the opportunity to meet briefly with Mr. Crusoe this afternoon, and we discussed that, and I realized there's a new town attorney that's starting, and that's with
A new town
I mean, the
planner.
town planner, I meant to say.
Okay.
And that's part of the reason why I think we're going to need that much time, especially with the holidays.
Okay, what is the date of our second meeting in January? Tom?
January 22nd.
January.
It's a Wednesday.
What-
Oh, it's a Wednesday?
I did some dates here, Mr. Chairman, and I think
Oh, here.
yeah, so 35 days, let's see. Can I ask for an extension of January 2nd, from January 7th is the next.
Yes.
Yes. And so, 65 days from that is March 13th. So it'd be 35 days, from today, 35 days is January 7th.
Right, but,
And that's what he's asking.
well, I think he's asking, are we still within the period, the 65-day period to start the hearing without starting it?
I get you. So no, start the hearing.
Right,
today.
right.
Yeah, that's what.
We're asking to extend the time to open the public hearing.
Open the public hearing. And I think
That'd be 65 days.
Which would expire when?
Well, the 65 days, I think, expires a few days after your first January meeting.
Okay,
When I counted the days, and again, I was under the assumption that you were meeting on Tuesdays, not Wednesdays in January, and I counted them at 11 days of extension. I guess it would be 12 days.
To get
of
to the-
extension. But whatever it is, we hereby grant the extension of time to open the public hearing until January 22nd.
I'll make a motion that we give an extension to open this public meeting to January 22nd.
or a
That's what
second?
he's asking.
Second. Okay, so this,
For discussion purposes?
yes,
Yeah, the hearing must commence within 65 days.
Right.
And 65 days from today, because today's the date of receipt of this application.
Oh, well, then that's more
But it
time.
was-
Oh, that's
I
what I'm
thought
trying
it
to
had
tell
been
you.
received a month
But
ago.
but it ends up the same, because,
Okay.
because that 65 days from today is February 8th. And so the planning commission will meet February 4th.
So,
Actually,
I'm not
so you
sure, if
have-
it was advertised for today, today wouldn't be when it was officially received. That would have been, I believe, November 5.
when was it submitted? October
It was
31st?
submitted October 31st, and the date of receipt is the first meeting
Right.
after the
Yeah.
actual
So,
submittal.
so that would have been, I believe, November 5. You have 65 days.
No, it was not November 5, because
wasn't?
Didn't have a meeting.
Why wouldn't it
was
have been, Dominic?
PC meeting of December, because the deadline to submit for that November 4th meeting was actually, that was before. The November 4th meeting, you had to submit it by, I don't have that list.
Yeah, I guess, but I think he's got a point there, which is our meeting was actually the 6th, wasn't it, because of Election
Yeah.
Day?
Right.
But I think if he submitted it on the 31st, I think arguably it would have been officially received at the November 6th meeting, even though the hearing didn't open
Right.
and nothing happened.
Right.
So I think we should count it, the 65 days, as starting on November 6th.
There are certain, I understand what you're saying. There are certain timeframes to make the next meeting, depending on whether it has to go to the engineering department also. So what I'm trying to say is in order to make that November 4th meeting or November 6th, where the commission can consider it for the first time, that would not have been enough time to go to November 4th. So,
Yeah, I mean, this is a bit of an unusual situation,
Right.
because if the application wasn't received until tonight, how did we notice the public hearing before it was received? I think it's more conservative to just say it was
Okay.
received on the 6th. I understand what you're saying under our own rules, but I think the
is the
statute is just
statute.
talking about when the next
Okay.
meeting is.
so November 6th.
I think that's the safer course, just so
Sure.
we don't,
So what date are we talking about from November 6th?
what would 65 days be from
Yeah,
November?
yeah, I understand, but what day is that?
Figure it out.
Someone's got to count it out.
You did.
Yeah, so
So
November,
you went from November 6th? No,
I went from the 5th. because
So it's one day.
I forgot that was.
so one day off, okay, one day.
But then again, I also thought the January meetings were on Tuesday, so I ended up right for the wrong reason.
Well, the first meeting in January is a Tuesday, but
Yeah.
it's the 7th, is
I think
65
it's,
days.
I think it's Friday, the 10th of January.
Yeah, it's technically the 65 days.
Right, so that would be a 12-day.
To get to January 22nd.
Okay.
All right, so back to Peter, I
So
think
the-
your motion
I
is
think the
to,
motion is correct, It's January
we're
22nd.
basically not going to open the hearing tonight, and we are postponing and rescheduling the hearing for January 22nd.
Right.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, is there a reason why we just can't have them withdraw tonight's hearing?
Draw the whole application? Yeah, I'm not sure.
There's no reason to, because we have the data in place, and we've already put a public notice out. Is that
Yeah, I
why?
mean, I think if we announce tonight that it's being continued to, right, we've already put the
That'll be
public notice
sufficient.
out, but I
Just want
think,
to make
we're-
sure they'll be prepared when the next hearing comes out.
yeah, yep. Okay. So is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, so we'll see you on January.
very much.
But in the meantime, again, please set up a time with staff. Okay. Thank you.
Good luck.
January 22nd. That's a 12-day extension because we basically said it received officially November 6th, 65th day, January 10th. 12-day extension to the 22nd. Okay.
We're not meeting Wednesdays normally.
No, I think it's only when there's something that throws the town council to Tuesday from their normal Monday because we can't be in the
Oh,
room.
Martin Luther King. I didn't see that on my calendar.
That's, it kicks over to Wednesday.
So do we want to,
Gotcha.
Meeting on Wednesdays now?
let's look at, I guess, next item is the revised meeting schedule. So just looking at it
Got it.
quickly,
Okay, that's fine. That's
February 19th must be one of the President's Days on the Monday, the 17th.
night for me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I'm kind of free.
Anybody have any questions on the schedule? Hopefully, they're all correct as listed. Would someone like to make a motion to approve the revised 2025 meeting date schedule?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, Chris, any second? Dave, all in favor, please? And it's as laid out in the December 3rd, 2024 memo from Dominic Caruso. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? Okay, that is done. Minutes of November 6th meeting. Would someone like to make a motion on that?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of November 6th, 2024.
Is there a second?
Second?
Dave, any discussion? Any corrections? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Staff reports.
Well,
It looks like
the
you're-
only report that I have, please look at my memo on this 1,000 Silas Deane Highway. I know it's, long, and I tried to put as much detail in it as I could because, the new planner, by the way, the new planner is starting next Tuesday.
Oh, good to hear.
New planner?
Great to hear.
I didn't know
So,
that.
yeah, let me,
A person by the name of Dave Elder.
he's coming, he had been at the Department of Transportation for many years in a supervisory role. He handled some planning functions for DOT as part of that role, and he also served as part-time land use planner for a couple of different Connecticut municipalities on a part-time basis. So he will be at our next meeting, the next one after tonight, which also leads me to want to just express thank you to Dominic, who's now done this more than once in terms of filling in as our consultant a couple of times, and he's really dedicated himself and given a lot of time and assistance to us, which is very much appreciated. Thank you, Dominic.
Thank you. Thank you, Dominic.
And I thank you. It's always great to work with you guys.
Want to place a bet when you can be back again?
I found that out.
Don't go there,
I don't know
Dave.
if you ever saw the, what was the movie with Tom Hanks? The Army movie there. Army. They were betting on what he did, when he would tell them what he did. I'm not going to bet either way because
Never seen
I
that.
like this.
I thought it was more like Groundhog Day for you, Dominic.
Oh, that's it. But
It was coming back to haunt us.
I think you really need, you need somebody, for some time for policy and setting that it's okay to review plans and stuff. But anyway, but thank you all.
So, Dominic,
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
So Dominic, before you leave,
All the
goes.
more reason why
Here
I
he goes,
think he
Peter.
wants to delay the.
yeah, so I did take some time reading your memo and go through it. It was well written, and I think I understood it. So when he referred to the fundamental issue, or whatever words he used, he was probably referring to the 80-20, right? That you
That's
put in,
exactly right.
that's got to be it, right?
I mean, everything else is technical. I mean,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
If we want you to put a couple more trees, that doesn't need too much thing.
My personal opinion is
we
if we needed a special meeting to help this guy out, it's worth discussing. We want to do it right, but it's
Yeah.
a building that's been.
Yep. Good, agreed.
If I had my druthers,
Yeah. We need to meet Monday just for
fill
this.
it
We
up.
can meet,
I
'cause
mean,
again,
it doesn't do the town any good
No.
to
that's
have
tough
vacant,
yeah.
but, I mean, this,
There's one more piece of correspondence is we had on our desks, I guess, right, a CBA, or at least I had a copy here, Connecticut Bar Association Education and Training, Planning and Zoning. Connecticut Land Use Law for Municipal Land Use Agencies, Boards, and Commissions is going to be on Saturday, March 22nd. It's an all-day program from 9 a.m. to 4:30. It's a virtual Zoom meeting, so you can do it from home. If anybody is interested, you've got to register and provide your email address, and I think there's a registration deadline of February 26th, and there's also there's a registration fee, but I'm pretty sure that if you're interested in attending, that probably the zoning office staff can sign you up for it.
we can do, they can do everything. All you have to do is call Lynn, the clerk, and let her know you want to go, and she'll take care of registering you.
Yeah, this is I believe this is, if it's not every year, it's maybe every other year, but it's got The topics include public hearing procedures, conflict of interest and predisposition, which Rich Roberts is talking about that topic, environmental interventions, planning commission role, zoning commission role, special permit and site plan review, nonconformities, wetlands, zoning, planning, and wetlands enforcement, zoning board of appeals, recent developments in Connecticut land use law and practice. So it's a pretty comprehensive program if anybody is interested in attending.
I'm definitely in.
I am too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we both are.
You able to,
You want me to tell Linda to sign you up?
Yeah, I'm already putting it in my calendar.
Yeah.
How many of these are we required to do?
of hours of training per year? I'm not sure.
So, could we pick 2 or 3 we wanted to do instead of sitting the whole day? Or not, you gotta do the whole thing? I'll find out, maybe.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'll find out.
Okay.
My understanding was that one training, they only offer it once per year. It has to be the one through UConn, and it's the whole day training that everyone that sits on a land use commission is required to take.
Well, the UConn one you have to do. Okay.
Oh, we're
Yeah.
required to do
This is not the Yukon one?
There's a statutory
that's a different one. There's a
requirement.
statutory one.
Is that the
was
one
a
me
law.
and you went to?
Yeah, that's the one that we did, yeah. So, there's that one that my understanding is in 2021, they passed a law that, so if you're planning and zoning, wetlands, or ZBA, pretty much that's,
I thought you could pick any one you want as long as you did like 2 a year or something like that. But I guess I'm wrong.
it's possible. I may also be misunderstanding it, but I think they package all those things into one.
So this doesn't count towards that as far as you know?
I would ask Lynn.
Worth
or
asking.
Work with Don,
That
yeah.
could be our first question to the new town planner.
See how good he is.
Yeah. I'll reach out to Lynn then about the Yukon one, because I
Send
didn't
it
realize
to
it was required.
Sir?
I said I'll reach out to Lynn about the Yukon one too.
Okay.
Because I didn't realize it was required.
Yeah.
Those-
If you reach out, because you have her send what the rules are for that.
Yeah.
Just, we have to do, if it's just UConn or anything. I thought it was anything, but I'm probably wrong, yeah.
All those topics are the same topics we covered in the class, so I'm imagining that if you were to be able to take them,
Yeah, I
They
think
might.
I think it's more than Yukon, because when we go to the dinner, we get like one out of the 10 or so that we need a year, and that's not Yukon.
I'm just trying to see if I can.
That was really informative. It was a lot, though, to
Yeah.
take in.
So, Anna, do you want me to,
Oh, yeah.
have,
Lynn, reach
I'll
out,
have
yeah.
Lynn register you?
It's 8-.
And if anybody else
Four
wants
C.
to go,
What I mentioned, could you have Lynn send us around exactly what we have to do here?
I know. we
Does this
better-
count towards it? Or
Yeah, would
I know I'm due to take one, that's why I want to do it right.
Yeah, what it basically, I'm looking at the statute, so it basically says every member shall there was initial training that had to be done prior to January 1, but it's every year, and the training has to include at least 1 hour regarding affordable and fair housing policies, may also consist of process and procedural matters, including conduct of meetings and hearings and Freedom of Information Act, interpretation of site plans, maps, and the impact of zoning on the environment. And I think it says it was 4 hours per year. So the statute at least doesn't say it has to be a particular program. I think it might be more the content of the program and who's providing, presenting it.
Okay, so if I went online and did 4 of the 1-hour courses, I would be okay by January 1st?
Yes.
Yeah, I think you probably still better check with
Yeah, I'm going to call her.
somebody who knows a little
Yeah, I
bit.
didn't. I
Who
did
keeps
not
track of how
require-
much we do?
that's kind of what I was wondering. I
So how do they know that we've done 4 or 3 or 2?
Lynn is supposed to keep track because the town has to submit an annual filing indicating that all the members have completed the training. And I will, so.
You can't go online
Well,
and do this, you
when
have to
the-
do it when they're doing it, right?
Can we have just Lynn give us a rundown of
It's online?
who's lapsed and who's not? Because I think I'm okay, but I'm not even sure now.
Did everybody probably do it within the
We did.
last year?
We
right?
did the whole session.
When was
That was
that?
last year. So does that mean we have to do it again this year?
Lynn can find out.
You probably did it in late 23 for
Dominic,
24.
last request to Dominic. See if we can follow up with it.
no,
There's a lot of pressure, Dominic.
Yeah. All right. I don't think we have anything else on the
Ago, though.
Okay.
agenda.
You didn't take it
I
like,
didn't take it this year.
Somebody would like to make a motion
Motion to adjourn?
by Tony. Is-
Second.
Second, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, any opposed, abstentions? All right.
There's a place you can go and take them when you want to.
I went,
A whole bunch of links, I couldn't go to the October, she sent me a whole bunch of links.
Oh.
She didn't say I had
Richard?
to do any of this, she just said, here's the
The
link.
last time I asked somebody,
He's
I
there.
have to every other year. Now he's